Okay.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Daily Herald here on Badlands Media. I'm your host, Jon Herold, and happy Monday, I guess, although Mondays aren't always that happy. I'm still sleepy. I'm tired. This last weekend, though, was pretty awesome. I missed you guys. Missed doing the Friday show, missed doing Onlylands, missed doing the Power Hour Saturday, but they all did a pretty good job for me, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure they held serve. But yeah, I was down in Kansas City. I got the honor of emceeing an event that they did down there. Kansas Reckoning and her crew did a fantastic job putting this event together. Next couple of days, I'll probably post some pictures of that. I got to meet Matt Gaetz. I actually got to talk to him a little bit on Friday night. Or no, what was that, Friday? Yeah, Friday. Yeah, the event was Saturday. So Friday was the dinner at their house, got to speak with Matt Gaetz. Saturday was the actual Kansas Reckoning event with Matt Gaetz, Seth Keschel, Missy K, Lorenzo Sewell spoke. All did a really good job. And then Sunday, we did our own little Badlanders meetup, and we had a great turnout. That was a lot of fun, too. So maybe I'll talk a little bit about that today, give my impression of Matt Gaetz. I didn't know what to expect. And I don't think it wasn't what I expected, but I'm not sure if that's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing either. It's hard to explain. But you know what? Let's get a quick word from our sponsors, and then I'll talk about that, and then we'll get into the news. I had completely unplugged from the news stuff. I heard there was a shooting somewhere, but I didn't dig into it or anything really. And now that I dug into it, there's multiple shootings all over the place. I missed quite a bit, apparently. But even so, I mean, it's not all that seems false flaggy to me, false faggy. But we'll talk about it. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens today. Probably interact with you guys in the chat a lot. I do have a lot of tabs open, a lot of things I could talk about, but we'll see. First up, little My Pillow from Mike Lindell.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our biggest Made in America sale ever. We just put huge discounts on products made right here in the USA. My Pillow bed pillows, body pillows, go anywhere pillows, bolster pillows, all made with my patented adjustable fill. Mattresses, mattress toppers, mattress pads, adjustable bed frames, mattress foundations, and so much more. All made right here in the USA. And now we're expanding our USA products beyond just quality sleep. Like the cross I wear every day, now available in both men's and women's. We even have USA-made socks. And are you tired of being tired? Try our new health beverage, Rev 7. Or how about my coffee, the greatest coffee ever. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to get deep discounts on all these products. Plus, for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
You know what? I am tired of being tired. On Friday when we left, our flight was at 5:45 or something in the morning. It was really the only thing it was either we get there at 1 or 2 or noon or whatever it was, around noon, or we get there 9:30 at night. That's what sucks about flying out of Bismarck, North Dakota. But yeah, anyway, the night before, Thursday night, I couldn't fall asleep as usual. So I don't even know how much sleep I got. A couple hours, maybe 2, 3, 4. Didn't really sleep on the plane. I've been just playing catch up ever since, but it was worth it. And we'll talk about that. One more quick ad from Van Man. These guys are fantastic. You know about Van Man taking down big toothpaste with all natural oral care, right? It's the perfect time to grab the dental care bundle for Christmas gifts. Van Man's tooth powder is loaded with minerals like eggshells and bone and combined with pulling oils and peppermint aloe mouth rinse. It's truly the ultimate fluoride-free dental hygiene bundle that saves you 25% off the individual prices. And the van never stops. Introducing Van Man's new Pearl Eye Cream and Sweet Onion Shampoo. Head over to badlandsmedia.tv/vanman to see what's new. That's badlandsmedia.tv/vanman. great products, great people. But yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the event and my experience with Matt Gaetz. Like he was a nice guy. Spoke with him for quite a bit, but it was like a group set. I didn't like speak with him one-on-one or anything. The people that were putting on this event, they are and have been very, very active and involved in their local elections down there in Kansas. Like more than the average person. They are just heavily invested, both with their time and their money and everything. Some of them are suing pro se. Some of them have been like going to Congress people. Like they are trying to fix things in Kansas. When I think Kansas, it's like that's not even one of the terrible places in terms of election fraud, but it is everywhere. Like the stories they had, the stuff they were talking about, it was mind blowing. I can't even imagine what it's like in some of these other deep blue states. But so the group setting we were in, a lot of these people were talking about what they've been working on, and Matt Gaetz was there, and he was very generous with his time. He answered quite a few questions, and I tried to sneak in some of my questions, but a lot of it was from the people that are hosting the event, as it should have been. But I will say some of the answers, and I don't know how to say this because I'm not trying to bash Matt Gaetz in any way. And there's a couple ways you could look at it, but some of the answers that he gave were they seemed very normy almost. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the talk was about election fraud and election stuff. And he, at least on Friday night, he didn't seem to, it's almost like he didn't understand the issues that these people were talking about, which I thought, my initial reaction was, man, he just felt normy. And then like this guy was going to potentially be the AG. Where would that have left us with election stuff? But I know he knows 2020 was stolen. He knows election fraud exists. I'm not saying that. That's why it's really hard to describe. And I'm not trying to bash him in any way. I'm just trying to like describe my reaction and without being able to really say exactly what he said, because I don't remember specifics. He was on point about Durham. I brought up Durham, talked about that a little bit. He said that Durham's a snake and a weasel, which I thought was interesting, but very much I already kind of knew he thought that. He's the one who grilled Durham during the Senate hearing or the hearing back in, was that 2023? He's really the only one that grilled him. But yeah, I just remember my initial reaction coming out of it was I wasn't expecting that. Like I feel like we always, put these people on pedestals, right? And we think they have like access to inside information and, this guy who speaks to Trump, and we have different expectations. And when they don't meet those expectations, makes it feel, I don't want to say disappointed either, because it was still a cool experience getting to talk to him. It just wasn't what I expected. But I in the car back, Ty and JC and Cece, we were talking a little bit about it, and they made some good points too. Like he could have just been, answering everything as political as possible, and not trying to disclose anything that he's not allowed to disclose. And maybe there are things that he's out of government now he's not even necessarily read in on. We don't know what we don't know, obviously. Be honest, who cares who he is? Yeah. He's playing politicians. Yeah, he's very much playing politician. Politicians talk in circles and never say anything. And it's not necessarily that either, because at the dinner, like, it's not that he was very responsive in answering questions. Some of it just seemed like very political answers for sure. But then some of his questions to the people talking about the election fraud stuff, like the specifics of it, that's where I was like, man, does he honestly think that? Does he honestly believe that? And to my perspective on elections is different than, like our perspective as a whole is different than a lot of people's perspective on elections. Like when we talk elections, we talk fake and gay. And this is actually when, the night before they told me what they wanted me to say. And I wrote down a bunch of stuff and I didn't even use it. I felt bad afterwards, but it was like, yeah, talk about how fake and gay our elections are. And the whole thing is fake and gay. Like Chris's article that he did, I even reread that on Saturday morning. His article on how fake our elections are from beginning to end, the registration process, the voter rolls, and then the mailing of the ballots, then the counting, and then the risk limiting audits and the whatever audit process we are supposed to have afterwards. And then any recourse you might have, like all of it from beginning to end is totally fake and fraudulent. And then this event, was geared and focused on fixing the elections. And a lot of the speakers they had, Seth Keshel especially, I mean, he knows it. He is so smart. He knows his shit. He knows his election stuff, the numbers, the data, the info. But at the same time, it's like, we're talking about all this, this analysis of elections, registrations, and voting and stuff. And when the elections are fake and gay and none of it can be believed, how much of that information and work is going to be relevant to fixing it long term? I mean, maybe in terms of exposure for sure. Because at some point that's what we got to do is we got to expose it. We just got to get enough people talking about how fake and fraudulent the elections are. But yeah. John, he didn't get as weird as Cash did, though, I bet. Cece says, I stand by my reading. I think he was intimidated and couldn't speak to the level the Kansas Reckoning people were. Maybe he didn't think they'd be on fire. They were on fire. Like Missy, she's brilliant. Thad, who was there, I met this guy named Thad, and both these people should end up on Why We Vote at some point. They are so involved and they know their stuff so well. It is intimidating. Oh, there's one more thing I was gonna say. I did get his phone number, and I'm hoping to have him on for an interview to ask him some of this stuff. Like, and that again, that was one of the things that was more like I didn't want to like keep interjecting myself into asking questions I wanted answered because it wasn't my event, Like he was there for these people and these people got him there, and they had a lot of questions and comments. But what I did feel is like these people who have been working so hard to fix things there in Kansas, you could feel like the level of frustration and almost exhaustion that they had of trying to fix these things and feeling like they're doing it alone. Like they're working to fix these problems and they don't have the help they need. And everywhere they go is almost like a dead end. And there's no real solution to fixing it. That's the feeling I got. And so when Matt's there and they're asking these questions and grilling him on all these things, like you could sense that from them, and you could sense that they feel like Matt, this is our outlet now. Like we can get to these issues in front of somebody, or in front of Matt, who can get it in front of somebody like Trump or whatever, and maybe we can start moving the needle. And I feel like that's where we're at. Like we're not going to lose the midterms because of X, Y, and Z reason or whatever. The real risk that I see is people becoming tired of being disenfranchised and feeling like there's no help. And I'm not saying like they're not going to vote or whatever. Like it's the black pill. That's what it is. Like, how long are people willing to fight a battle that it feels like they're fighting uphill without any help before they decide to just, okay, whatever, I'm gonna take my ball and go home. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was really cool though. Really good event. And the Badlanders meetup, we had a lot of Badlanders at the Kansas Reckoning event, which was really cool. But then we had our own little meetup on Sunday, and like I said, great turnout. Got to meet some new people, got to see some friendly faces as well. It was great. Go. Demoralization. Don't be demoralized. Yes, that's probably a better way of saying what I was trying to say. We don't want people to black pill or get demoralized and stop fighting. And I'm not concerned about that, like for me or my my community here, our community here. My approach to the news cycle and information and what's going on, I think it prevents me from being blackpilled or demoralized. But where I'm saying is, like, my concern for other people is these are people that, some of them are tuned into Badlands for sure. Those that probably wouldn't have been invited. But there are more people like them out there that are fighting these uphill battles, and like, they find the election fraud, then they take on the cost personally to sue or something, go to a judge or whatever it is, file a lawsuit, only to become, targets of the state or run into a judge that has to recuse himself because the attorney for the state, the AG for the state, hires somebody from the same law firm he worked at to defend the case. And then you get a Democrat, like there's these stories out there like this where it's just, you know that people out there aren't going to be able to fight forever if that keeps up. But on the good side, I will have one positive thing, that I did see a video this weekend from Donald Trump where it sounds like he's again saying that a truckload of evidence on 2020 is going to come out. And I think that is very much needed. Let's play this video real quick.
That's all they're good at cheating in elections, very good at cheating. They're professionals at cheating because we won in 2016 by a lot. The election was rigged in 2020. We have all the ammunition, all the stuff, and you'll see it come out. It's coming out in truckloads. And California's election, New York also, but California more than any other place is so rigged. It's such a rigged election. We won the Hispanic vote. So a lot of people say Republican wouldn't win California, but I won the Hispanic vote. I won in Miami. Think of that. In Miami, I won the Hispanic vote. Along the Texas border, I won every single city or town touching the Texas border, and they're 85 to 90% Hispanic. We won the Hispanic vote. If the vote in California was legitimate, which it's not, they have 38 million ballots. Everything is mail-in voting. They mail out 38 million ballots, and they come in. Where the hell do they go, and where do they come from? It's a rigged election in California because we would win California by a lot. And again, they feel they have the advantage with Hispanic. They don't.
So there you go. I do agree. I think at some point this stuff will get exposed. It has to be. It has to be. And it's not that it isn't already exposed. Like we know it's out there, but we need it exposed and then some accountability on the back of it too. That's what we need. And it has to come. I will say too, there was almost a change from Matt and his answers and his rhetoric from Friday to Saturday, like what he actually said on stage. Because what he said on stage, like that was a little more in line with what I was expecting from him in terms of rhetoric and whatnot. And what we would want to see from these people, or somebody like Matt, who, again, nominee for AG. I think he's probably a little more read-in than the average Joe. They still mysteriously find boxes of ballots at the last minute to put the evil candidates in office. Yeah, still waiting for the other shoe to drop. Yeah, hopefully we're not waiting too long. That is for sure. I think the big concern with that is, how many people are around Trump that are trying to prevent that from happening. I think this entire administration and what we're seeing online with social media and all the distractions and everything, it's all one big stall tactic. That's what it is. They're trying to outlast Trump and allow for as little to happen as possible. And if they do steal, the midterms or whatever, then that'll obviously be a big boost to their efforts, because they will likely try to impeach and impede on everything else. Misbehaving Irishman, does he even know who we are? Did you ask if he ever watches Badlands, or are we just talking to ourselves? Burp. Well, that's the thing. When I introduced myself and mentioned Badlands Media, he said he knew of it, but I'll be honest, like there are people who introduce themselves to me sometimes and like mention, oh, I run this Rumble channel. I'm like, oh yeah, I've heard of that. When in reality, that's not true. I just don't want to be rude. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he just didn't want to be rude. But yeah, I did get his number, and I'm going to reach out and invite him on for an interview and ask him the tough questions. So see what happens. And I have some, there's like a professional photographer there taking pictures with Matt. And I did get a couple pictures with him and Seth Keshel, so I'll post those once I get those as well. Was Gaetz glad handing Jon? If I'm going to be honest, I don't know what glad handing means. I always read the burp part. Oh yeah, that was kind of funny. He did introduce himself like, hi, I'm Matt Gaetz. It's like, dude, everybody knows who you are. You don't have to introduce yourself as Matt Gaetz. But when I introduced him for speaking at the conference, I introduced him as Ginger Gaetz' husband. I didn't say his name. I thought that was funny. It's not that I'm a liar. When I do that, it's a fib. It's like when you're with your kids, like you might stretch the truth a little bit so that they don't get upset. You know? Like instead of saying, yeah, your goldfish died, we had to flush down the toilet. It's like, oh, your goldfish wanted to go swim with other goldfish in the ocean, so we let him do that. You know? It's like that. I never dreamed that 10 months into Trump 2 that I would still be living on hopium. Isn't that weird? Oh yeah, so what I just said about him introducing himself as Matt Gaetz, when I was getting ready for my introduction or whatever and emceeing, I asked Grok or ChatGPT to like come up with some jokes. I didn't end up using any of them, but one of the jokes was Matt Gaetz seems like the kind of guy who would introduce himself by his full name. And it was just funny because that's what he did. And that's what my girlfriend commented on afterwards too. Laney Lou, I like Gaetz and feel like he's playing a role. Yeah, it's not that he was dislikable by any means. He's funny. He's well polished. He's a politician. I mean, he's been at the highest level of politics, and you could tell that translated. Like you have all these guys up there, and this is where I felt dumb because I was emceeing this event, and you guys know me. I'm not polished. I typically don't like to prepare for stuff. When I do prepare, I end up not using any of it and just go up there and wing it. And so that's where I felt dumb. Like I went up there and just kind of winged it. Didn't speak very long. You could probably tell it was very much like a let's just see what happens type of thing. And then all these guys come up there and they're all polished and data and slide shows. So I felt a little, underwhelming there. Like I felt like I was underwhelming, but it was still a great time. And I'm not saying that he's I want to be clear. Like I'm not trying to bash Matt Gaetz. I'm not saying he's a bad dude by any means. I think he was like heavily targeted. And when you have the Senate basically prevent him from becoming the AG, and after what we've seen from the Senate, like it's very easy to see that he was kind of their enemy. They did not want him in that role for a reason. It was probably a good reason. So I'm not trying to say that he could still be part of, the plan. I did ask him, and I don't know if he's talked about this publicly. So I don't know what I'm allowed to say, or I guess he didn't say. He wouldn't have answered me if he couldn't say it. So I asked him why he didn't go back to his Congress seat after the nomination fell through, and he felt like because he was nominated by Trump for the cabinet, and then obviously the nomination stuff didn't go through. It was like he. It was almost like he. And I'm trying to paraphrase here. It's like he lost his political capital in a way because of him being nominated, and everything he does, it would look like he was doing Trump's agenda, or it was something like that. But again, I want to interview him so I can get his specific answers on some of these questions. They Theater Dave, I like Gaetz, but don't trust Gaetz. That is good. I agree with you, and that should be. Black Hat Destroyer, Who do you think knows in detail the fraudulent elections, Chris Paul or Seth Keshel? Is the info complementary to each other? For sure, they're two different approaches. Like Seth Keshel even talked about Chris Paul. I gave him a shout out and about like the narrative of some of the stuff. Seth Keshel probably knows the election information in our country better than anybody else, like specifics, like down to a precinct level. He has studied it. He knows the trends. He knows the data. He knows all of it. And they both have the same conclusions that our elections are, fake and fraudulent. And he has his 10 commandments of fixing our elections, which is great. And he's spot on. Chris's approach is much more like it doesn't matter what the data is. None of that matters. It's the fact that we use our machines, and the process itself is just, it's self-defeating. Like any election that has any machine in there at all means you can't trust it. And so none of it matters. Like even analyzing the data we get from that system, even if that data shows it's fake, to him it's like that, it's pointless because I already know. Like it doesn't matter. But they both have the same conclusion. Chris is just on a much more extreme end of the spectrum, but I think that's the right end to be on, because there is a risk where if we continue to operate within the existing election infrastructure and analyzing the existing election infrastructure and trying to fix that existing election infrastructure, that we will fix bits and pieces, but still have the major part of the election fraud system in place, and then we don't get out of it altogether. Yeah, I think they go hand in hand, because like when you have Seth Keshel give his presentation, it's almost impossible to come away thinking, oh yeah, like we can trust the results for elections. Like, or maybe not even that. It's more so, oh yeah, they definitely cheated in that election. And then you follow that up with Chris's approach to, okay, if they can do this, everything's illegitimate. And we can't trust any of it until we get to a situation where Seth Keshel's out of work, honestly. Like he shouldn't be able to find election fraud anymore. And I mean, his election analysis would still continue. Does any of that make sense? Wing wang, you wanged it. I admit it. It's okay. I'm not apologizing for winging it. I like winging it. I feel like I'm at my best when I wing it. Yes, I do speak up to Captain K. He is, no, he's good stuff. I talked to him, and Seth Keshel's, I've never had an issue with Seth Keshel. Again, one of the most brilliant minds we have in the movement in terms of election fraud. And it should be because of him that we look at our elections and want to completely reform them. He's very, very good. And he doesn't like the drama too, which I love. Love and respect that. Because I don't like it either. We're on the same page there. People are so stupid. Jon, I heard the reason Gaetz didn't go back to Congress was due to his ethic report would have been released, and it was very scathing. That's what people say, but and maybe that's true, because didn't it come out though? I'm trying to remember now. It's hard to remember. I could have swore it did come out, but maybe I'm wrong. And maybe that's what he was kind of implying too. Like he didn't have a feature there. One of my best friends does all Seth's graphics for his election fraud work. Yeah, he's good stuff. He is good stuff. Did he wear his vest? I think he was wearing a vest, but he's wearing a sports coat over it. I think I heard they're going to post the entire Kansas Reckoning event on Rumble at some point. Originally, Matt Gaetz said, or as part of his contract, that it couldn't be recorded and put online, but I think he gave the okay later. Yeah, we'll talk about the Rob Reiner stuff here. I just kind of wanted to talk about the weekend. Shipwreck got the last coherent interview with MTG before she went off the rails. Yeah, they know who we are. All right. I was going to see if there's anything else in the chat. But nothing that I want to like jump on right now. So let's see what we got in the news from the weekend. No update on the Doge website. They may never touch that website again, and that would sure be a disappointment. We do have two new executive orders. We have this one ensuring a national policy framework for artificial intelligence. It's exactly what it sounds like. And then we have this one, protecting American investors from foreign-owned and politically motivated proxy advisors. This one was a little more interesting to me. Let's just look real quick at the AI one. This is because the states, the 50 different states, doing their own different thing. They want to stop that. They want to stop inconsistent and costly compliance regime resulting from varying state laws. Order directs the Attorney General to establish an AI litigation task force to challenge unconstitutional, preempted, or otherwise unlawful state AI laws that harm innovation. That's the gist of that. And then we have this one. Today's President Donald Trump signed an executive order to end the outsized influence of proxy advisors that prioritize radical political agendas over investor returns. And if this is what I think it is, and I'm going to read through like two parts of it, and then I'll vomit from the mouth for a little bit. This needs to be carried out in a lot of different areas, not just when it comes to investing. The order directs the chairman of the SEC to review and, as appropriate, rescind or revise all rules and regulations related to proxy advisors that implicate diversity, equity, inclusion, and environmental, social, and governance priorities, as well as rules related to shareholder proxy proposals that are inconsistent with the policies in this order. Enforce anti-fraud provisions, blah, blah, blah. Order directs the chairman of the FTC to determine whether proxy advisors are engaged in unfair methods of competition or unfair or deceptive acts or practices, and to review ongoing state antitrust investigations. These proxy advisor stuff, like, to me, this is almost like lobbying. Like, we're doing this with investing. They want to ensure proxy advisors and plan managers act solely in the financial interest of American workers and retirees. Like, okay, let's make sure that they're investing in America stuff, America first stuff, trying to actually benefit, the people investing, these retirees and their 401ks and whatnot, not investing in foreign companies just because somebody gave them money to do that. So this is good, but we got to do this with lobbyists too. And this is one of those things. I think it was brought up over the weekend too. I'm trying to remember. But we got to entirely get rid of lobbying. 100%. 100%. Lobbying needs to be, there's so many things. This is almost bringing me back to the first couple of months of the Trump administration. That's what this weekend did for me, is just thinking of how much work we really need to do. And not to say it's like it couldn't be changed almost overnight if the will was there and the mandate was there. But like getting rid of the lobbying, completely changing how we do our election system. Again, one of the things that like really stuck out to me this weekend is how, we don't talk about the primaries enough, and how even people become candidates. One of the things Matt Gaetz was talking about was like getting a bench of like superstar candidates that we can have available for, different things. How do we get there? It's impossible to find good people to even run for office. And if they do, they're up against the most amount of money possible. Like they'll never get their foot in the door. And then we lose in the primary, and what we have is two uniparty candidates in the general. So it really doesn't matter who wins, because they're on the same side and they will push the regime efforts the entire time. But we got to fix the money in elections. We got to fix the money in politics, period. Like, there's so much work to do. Silver. Still time to get in. What's it at right now, Ramon? Made 40,000 in 1 week when silver jumped recently. That's insane. Well, I guess I'm going to check what silver is at. 63.77. I don't think that's the highest it's been. It was at 64, but yeah, it's I still think it's artificially suppressed. I think both gold and silver are going to go up. I think Bitcoin, same thing. I think the same thing with that. that was one thing that was interesting. He was talking about David Sachs and the strategic crypto reserve and Bitcoin. I mentioned that a little bit, and his comment on that was like, okay, yeah, it's great, but like, where is it? Where is the strategic Bitcoin reserve? Like, what's our Bitcoin holdings? Like, why haven't we seen anything from that yet? I was like, yeah, I agree. You're the one that's why I asked you. You're supposed to tell me that. But he didn't have like an answer. Didn't seem too high on David Sachs. But that's how I feel about a lot of stuff. Is like, okay, well, the strategic Bitcoin reserve, it's good lip service, but see the actuals of it. You know what I mean? John, run for governor in North Dakota. You'll get all 10 votes, I'm sure. I would never run for governor until my kids were, or I would never run for politics, period, until my kids are old enough. I wouldn't even consider it. I don't even think I'd want to. And I definitely wouldn't if our elections weren't fixed. Go for who bought Bitcoin at 115K. Well, if you do weekly purchases or monthly purchases or daily purchase, whatever you do, then you probably bought a little bit. I think I bought a little bit. But I'm also buying a little bit this week or month. Like every month, I have the recurring purchase. Silver is the most undervalued asset in modern history. I read it'll be over $100 beginning in 2026. That'd be crazy. That'd be nuts if it went up that high. But I'm sure it will. Like, it is so artificially priced. I've heard people say it's going to be like $250 an ounce. We just don't know. But I would recommend, if you're going to get gold and silver, I would get it from badlandsgold.com. You can support Badlands in the process, and you can roll your IRA over into physical gold and silver and then take possession of it. It's awesome. Give them a call. Reach out, badlandsgold.com. Oh, what else do I got for you guys here? Let's talk about this real quick. Rob Reiner was found dead, him and his wife, in apparent homicide. Reiner was born into Hollywood royalty, the son of legendary comic Carl Reiner, rose to fame in his own accord as Archie Bunker's bumbling hippie son-in-law. He was found dead this weekend, and they're investigating their deaths as a double homicide, and it is believed that their son is the one who killed him. Associated Press, New York Times reported a family member as being questioned by police about the incident. Donald Trump, people are up in arms about this. People are so dumb. But we'll read this. People are up in arms over this Truth Social post. A very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away together with his wife Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with the mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of Donald J. Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness. With the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before, may Rob and Michelle rest in peace. Now, one, this is totally in character for Trump to take anything, anytime he's like going to talk negatively about anybody, he will make sure he includes like something about him and what's happened and like what's going on in the good terms in this country, right? Like, yeah, Rob Reiner, he was murdered. He had TDS. He hated me. And it only got worse because of how awesome things are going for our country. May he rest in peace. This is totally like unsurprising of Trump to post this, but people are, kind of, oh my God, so insensitive, all these things. And honestly, that's kind of perfect because of what went down with the Charlie Kirk thing. Okay. When Charlie Kirk was shot, everybody on the left, not everybody, but a lot of people on the left said some very awful things about it, very insensitive things about it. And then everybody on the right tried to get them all fired and whatever. And now Trump does kind of the same thing. And now they're like, it's just the roles have completely flipped. And I don't like or care for Rob Reiner, what he was. I Pray for him and his family, though. I mean, nobody should be murdered. I think that's a terrible thing. Nobody should be murdered, period. And I don't think they should be murdered for their political views. And I would never say anything like Trump kind of said here, probably, but whatever. I don't care. The left is going to at every opportunity. And I think when Trump does stuff like this, like even though it's really not that bad, it's almost like bait for the left. Like they take it hook, line, and sinker, and now they'll spend weeks talking about how insensitive Trump was. And we have to continue to walk on eggshells because, God forbid, we hurt their sensitive little feelings. Sorry, the left has proven time and at the end they're evil. You can't be nice to evil people. Yeah. And this is why nothing changes, because our side continues to coddle the left and tiptoe around their sensitive feelings. It's always about protecting the left and making sure they don't feel bad. Yeah, and this is something I'll even admit I struggle with sometimes. You know, like, and I'm not saying I'm like coddling the left or anything. I don't care about these people in the slightest. Like, I have empathy towards everybody, anybody, and I don't want anybody to face hardship or death or, you know, I don't wish bad things upon anybody. And that's a hard thing to say because there are some people who deserve me to wish hardship upon them, but I don't. Even the people who are currently doing some very terrible things directly to me and Badlands, and I have every excuse in the book to like wish harm upon them, I wouldn't do it. I actually wish them the best. And sometimes even pray for those people because they're clearly going through stuff. But we see that the left is like, they're playing the game by a different set of rules, and it's like no rules at all. Like, a lot of these people literally want to kill us. Literally want to kill us. And so how do you handle those people? You try to operate with integrity and have your morals and whatnot, but does that prevent you from fighting back and successfully winning? I don't know. Like, are we able to go against these people who literally want to kill us by taking the high road every time? I don't know. The Lord says not to curse our enemies. I will go with that. However, I will not ignore nor tolerate evil either. Yeah. I'm not as generous either. You reap what you sow. I agree with that, but I don't have to be the one that like reaps it for them, you know? Yeah. Must have been a bad person for his own son to kill him. Yeah. Don't wish harm on them, but don't feel sad when their karma is delivered. Agreed. I'm with you there. We have to behave with integrity whether others do or not. That's kind of where I'm at. Say what you want about Nick Fuentes, but even he said that when Charlie Kirk was murdered, he said you can't work with people that cheer on his death. You can't live with them. And you don't have to. Nobody's forcing you to. I don't know. So it's an interesting question, thought process. Oh, man, I only have 16 minutes left. I've been talking that much. Zelensky signals willingness to drop NATO bid in U.S.-led peace talks. How generous of him to be willing to do that when that was never part of the original deal. Like, that was never going to be a thing. But it's great. I see I left for the weekend, came back, and we're still no closer to any actual peace deal there, which is funny. Appeals court pauses Boasberg contempt probe into Trump deportations. A federal appeals court on Friday temporarily halted contempt proceedings ordered by U.S. District Judge James Boasberg as the Trump administration seeks to block testimony from two Justice Department witnesses. In a 2-1 decision, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit issued an administrative stay in Boasberg's inquiry into whether senior Trump officials willfully violated a March 15th emergency order. I think this will be an interesting one to watch, but stupid. Oh, okay. So the shootings this weekend, I think I kind of forgot to talk about this. There was multiple of them, which was kind of nuts. We had a shooting at Brown University where I think it was like one of the presidents or vice presidents of like the Republican club there. was shot and killed. But there are 2 students killed, I think 9 wounded, and they have no idea who it is. They had a couple suspects in custody at various different points. Like initially they had one and ended up letting it go. And I think Trump on True Socials posted like, yeah, they have a suspect in custody, and later had to like correct, it wasn't the guy. Then they had somebody else in custody and they ended up just releasing him too. So they have no idea who it is. The release of a man who police had detained at Rhode Island hotel early Sunday was confirmed in a statement. Police have advised they do not believe there's any immediate threat to Brown or the local community. I don't know how they can possibly say that if they don't have the guy. Like the guy, there was no reason to be concerned, or there was no immediate threat prior to the shooting happened, but then the guy went and wanted to do the shooting and he did. If they don't have the guy, I mean, I would argue there was still an immediate threat until they find out who did it. John's Monday show, blah, blah, blah. Don't be mean to retards, blah, blah, over top. It's an op. What? What are you even talking about? Yeah, X says he's still at large. It's so stupid. But there's also the shootings in Australia. That was kind of wild. I saw some video of that. Again, and I think this stuff is very false flaggy. I'm not going to get into the weeds on it. And then give that stuff like the 72-hour rule. So see what happens. But they are moving to tighten gun laws after the deadly Bondi Beach shooting. Australian leaders on Monday pledged to swiftly strengthen the country's gun laws following a mass shooting at a Hanukkah celebration on Sydney's Bondi Beach that killed 15 people and wounded dozens more. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said the attack was an act of anti-Semitic terrorism and vowed tougher restrictions, including limits on the number of firearms an individual can own, periodic license reviews, tighter eligibility rules, and expanded use of criminal intelligence in vetting gun owners. And this is such a stupid approach. People who have the mindset to be willing to pull off an act like this, if it's real, with that caveat on there, you're not like your gun laws aren't going to prevent them from doing the attack. They will figure out a way to get guns, or they will figure out a way to inflict harm upon the people they want to inflict harm upon. The problem is the mental aspect of this. You can't fix broken. Like, you can't fix that. Can't fix evil. And plus, we don't know if, was it an evil ideology or was it a false flag? Was it because they wanted to restrict gun laws? Was it for the narrative? We just don't know. 72-hour rule on that one as well. Navy submitted a report on potential discipline for Senator Mark Kelly over controversial video. They provided a report outlining potential disciplinary actions for Mark Kelly after the Seditious 6 video. The report, requested by the Department of Defense and reviewed by the Navy, has been forwarded to the Pentagon's Office of General Counsel. So let's see what they do there. The White House is exploring a new Core 5 group as potential alternative to the G7. Trump administration is reportedly considering the creation of a new intergovernmental group, including the U.S., Russia, China, India, and Japan. I bet they'd get Saudi Arabia in that mix too. But the proposed Core 5, or C5, would serve as an alternative to the G7 with a flexible agenda not bound by the G7's current framework. Defense One reported that the idea appeared in an unpublished version of the National Security Strategy. Early discussions reportedly focused on Middle East issues, including potential normalization of relations between Israel and Saudi Arabia. So how could you have a focus on Middle East issues without a Middle East country in there, without Saudi Arabia? White House Deputy Press Secretary Anna Kelly declined to comment or to confirm the document's existence. I want to see if they have the unpublished national security strategy. I'd be interested in reading that. We do have a couple of new stories, new memos, I should say. New documents came out, and I just got wind of the story here like an hour ago, so I didn't have time to actually go through them, but I will. New memos show how the corruption probe into Clinton Foundation was killed. We were told no by FBI HQ. We already had some documents that came out on this specifically, and I think it happened while we were at Deadwood. I'm pretty sure that's when those documents came out, because I remember being in the hotel there at the Deadwood Gart, reading through some of the justification for why they shut down the Clinton probe. But we have new 87 pages of stuff now. And so I'm going to read through this probably. Yeah. If you guys remember that this came out on while we were in Deadwood. But let me read this story here. Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley made the records produced to him and attorney available to Just the News this weekend. This follows Patel unearthing a shorter timeline written in 2017. And that's what he's talking about from a couple months back. Also chronicled the extensive stonewalling that Bureau investigators in 3 cities faced from the Obama-era DOJ and FBI during the 2016 election. FBI agents tried to get the help of federal prosecutors to determine whether or not crimes occurred while Hillary Clinton served as Secretary of State, most notably because at the time, her family foundation solicited hundreds of billions of dollars from foreign and U.S. interests with business before her department. People don't realize this is still Biden's economy. Yeah. It's about a year and a half, 2-year delay sometimes. Epstein files coming by the end of this week. I mean, I feel like we've already gotten them all the relevant ones. They keep dripping like nothing burgers, like blurred out pictures of Trump trying to show that he's with a bunch of kids, but then it ends up being like beauty contestants for Miss America, whatever beauty pageant he was in charge of. Let's see. I thought this was interesting. Trump released this weekend. New photos from the West Wing. This picture in particular of him standing in front of the auto pen. I think that's hysterical. Trump's such a boss. Talk about Hassett. He's receiving pushback from people close to Trump. That's one of the things I wanted to ask Matt Gaetz about, like his thoughts on some of the people in Trump's inner circle, because Matt Gaetz was part of, some of the transition stuff, like selecting people and interviewing people, and I'm curious his thoughts on Susie Wiles and whether or not he even give a legitimate answer. Like when he was asked about Pam Bondi and whether we're actually going to get to the bottom of some of this stuff, he talked around it in some ways. Like he didn't give specifics. He didn't give anything that we didn't already know. It's like, yeah, there's the predicate act that took place by them raiding Mar-a-Lago would allow us to get a grand jury down in Florida, which we already know about and talk about. And we know subpoenas have gone out. So I'm hoping that it's going to get to the bottom of it and we'll see accountability. Like he didn't really get too in depth and didn't let on as if he had any inside info. Trump admin to hire 1,000 specialists for a tech force to build AI finance projects. Trump administration on Monday unveiled a new initiative dubbed the U.S. Tech Force, comprising about 1,000 engineers and other specialists who will work on artificial intelligence infrastructure and other technology projects throughout the federal government. Participants will commit to a 2-year employment program, working with teams that report directly to agency leaders in collaboration with leading technology companies. Those private sector partners, which is like Amazon, Apple, Google, all of them. Tech Force shows that Trump administration is increasing its focus on developing America's AI infrastructure as it competes with China for dominance in the rapidly growing industry. I kind of like this idea. I wonder, my initial thought with this was, is this the whole H-1B thing that we were talking about a couple months ago that everybody freaked out about? Where, we need to bring in people. There's some jobs that, only they can do. Is this going to be the Tech Force, or is this going to be all America First people or Americans? I'm curious to see that. Shit, the show's almost over. It is almost over. A couple rants here. Wait, let me see if there's any more stories that I wanted to mention, because I don't think so. Oh, Erica Kirk, for those who care about the stupid drama, Erica Kirk and Candace Owens are meeting today. And so I'm sure that'll fix all of our problems. I'm sure they'll totally stop the distraction sign-up after that. Oh, and also they apparently stopped a false flag in LA.
The FBI now reports that it's disrupted a planned New Year's Eve terror attack in Los Angeles. 4 suspects in custody. The FBI identifying them as members of a pro-Palestine extremist group. They're suspected of planning coordinated IED attacks targeting 5 different locations in Los Angeles. But based on the reporting now, that plot has been foiled. We will wait for more out of LA or out of Washington, D.C. The FBI.
Foil the plot. I want to see the evidence of it. So anytime I hear a story about that, I think like the Minority Report, like the pre-crime unit. Like, how do you know they were actually going to do it? Where's the proof? I want to see the proof. Luke S111 says, Kansas SOS, Schwab's son was decapitated and the AG Kobach just happened to cause a mistrial? Suspicious. Yeah, I did not hear very good things about Kobach in Kansas this weekend. People are not big fans. But have we had a single AG anywhere actually pursue and get to the bottom, or at least try to pursue election fraud? Haven't had a single one. None of these people have the balls to do it, or they're on the take. You're either on the take or you don't have the balls. And it's probably more so being on the take, because there is plenty of evidence out there to pursue some of this stuff, and they just refuse to do it. 12 Indie Boy. It's so good to spend time with Ty this weekend, Ty and JC and everybody. But Ty says, huge props and thanks to Kansas Reckoning and Lynn for the 2 days in Kansas. Awesome connections with people, great people in Missouri, Kansas area. Jason and I love our Badlands family. Can't wait for the next guard. Yeah, we had a great time, and there are some really good people in that area. I want to get to Kansas City for a guard at some point. I do think we're leaning Nashville. You know, I did a poll over the weekend between Nashville and San Diego, and it was pretty overwhelmingly in favor of the Nashville area. So that's good. I might do one more poll on another location between Nashville and like Austin, Texas, just to see where the vibes are at. Not to say we can't do both, at some point. But anyway, 2027, I want to get to Kansas City. I think it would be a great place for a guard. That place it's pretty awesome. Yeah, anything else, guys? Otherwise, I'm probably going to send you over to the Y-Chrome boys. Yeah, a lot of NFL stars got injured this weekend. The Vikings won. I hate them now. Like, you're not going to make the playoffs. Just stop winning. Get the best draft pick you can. Bay 30 Dave, I was pulling for San Diego, of course. Yeah, the hard part with San Diego, I mean, it'd be a cool area, and it's pricing. I was explaining this to people, you look at or who was I was talking to a guy who's a real estate guy, and Keller Williams, I think, where he works with, they put on a big conference every year for all their agents, like if they want to come, big networking thing or whatever. And it's like $1,000, and that's just the ticket price for the weekend event. Then you have to get food, which is separate. Then you have to pay for your hotel room separate, travel, all that stuff. The way we try to do it is we have the one ticket price for the weekend, which includes the food. You just have to pay for your hotel and travel. Obviously, that's not including the ticket price. But we price ours still as reasonably as possible. I don't even know what they're at, like $500, $650, for general and VIP for a weekend with the food. And it's very difficult because we haven't really raised our prices at all since we started doing conferences. We're on our 10th one. It's very difficult to find venues that have also not increased their prices. And we're not trying to make money on the in-person ticket stuff either. We're trying to break even. And it's very difficult to do. We get priced out of a lot of places. There are plenty. We could go anywhere if we really wanted to, but then we'd have to raise ticket prices at half the places. Very, very difficult to do. And but we do our best. That's kind of why we've been stuck. Vegas has been a great place for us. Deadwood's a great venue for us. We'll probably keep doing those 2 locations every year and start swapping around the other 2. But it's the economy, right? Prices have not been coming down like people want them to. And that's when it comes to the food in these venue locations as well. Just Nashville 1 Fair and Square. Yeah, I do think there will be a Nashville conference, I can confidently say, in 2026. But no details yet. I'm going to play our soft disclosure ad again, guys. Christmas is coming up. Be a great Christmas present is some soft disclosure, because not only are you giving them the best lotion products you can find, best skincare products, whatever. I don't even know what we call ourselves. Is it skincare? Is it lotion? Is it? It's just amazing. We call ourselves amazing. That's what it is. Some of the best products you can get, but it's American products. You are supporting multiple America First American companies, and you're supporting Badlands in the process. So get yourself some soft disclosure. You guys have a great rest of your day. I will see you tonight on Basis Conspiracies at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. And go talk shit to CanCon and Alpha and whoever else is over on Y Chromes. They deserve it.
Soft disclosure, just dropped new favorites for the season. The lotion, your 5-ounce favorite, is still here. And now we've added full 11-ounce bottles. New lavender tea tree deodorant, clean, calm, and effective. New tallow bars, chamomile lemon rose, and naked. Rich moisture that actually works. And now the lineup is complete. Beard oil in unscented and spiced vanilla. Palo lip balms, available in chamomile mint, vanilla, naked, and vanilla tangerine. Palo bar minis for pocket-ready hydration. Available in vanilla coffee and naked. And finally, lavender vanilla lotion. Clean, calm, and made to work. Visit softdisclosure.com. Use code Badlands and get 15% off. Soft Disclosure, for truth you can gift.
0. Extra, read all about it. 2. 3. Let's get started.
Oh, that's real good.
Why they stopping me? Stopping me.